All right, quick question for you. Art in general is a form of self expression. Do you agree with that? If you do, then you must also agree that the purpose of writing a story is to express who you are. Do you agree with that? Because if you do, then good, because I've been stuck for a while with this type of thinking that I need to rely a lot on external research to understand my characters, understand my world, understand what I want to do for my story. Because I been writing characters that are like have traits that are not within me, and I've been having a difficult time writing out and expressing those characters in the story just because I'm not used to, like, I don't express those traits myself, so I don't really have a full grasp on, how these characters would act with those types of traits. Like maybe I have like a bit of sense, but I don't really have like a full type of like analysis or understanding on it, right? So I've been using like a lot of external research, researching like famous people with those types of traits. I'm trying to get a better understanding, to learn more about my characters and develop them a little bit better in my story. But here's the thing I've noticed. It led me to do a lot more research, and the story became less and less about the vision I have for the story itself and more about, is it like realistic enough? That's really what it became. And one thing I wrote down here is actually like writing became a lot harder when I rely more on external research. That's what I noticed with myself, because it's like, okay, am I getting this right? Am I actually understanding these traits a little bit more? Am I understanding, let's say I'm using like historical events or historical setting. Do I have a grasp of it? Is it like realistic enough? Are people gonna understand the connection, or are people gonna judge me on the fact that I missed this important critical part from this historical factor or whatever? you know? And it made writing a lot more difficult. And I noticed, or I should say, I realized that I was not able to move forward until I simplified my writing. And the only way, or the way for me that my writing became simplified, is when I started leading with my values, with what I've known, right? I watched a video from George R.R. Martin where he said, write what you know, right? And he gave an example of, I think, a friend of his who used to be in the army and was a soldier, fight through these wars. I think in the Vietnam War, one of the wars, right? And he talked about how when his friend became a writer, he used the experience of these wars to express conflict in his stories. And that's what helped him get a grasp or understanding on the conflict, how these characters going to react, the decision making that needs to be made, the emotional baggage of war and conflict, how it can impact a person. And that had me thinking. I was like, yeah, why not just lead with my values, like with what I know? And even if I don't know certain character traits myself, why don't I just lean towards the traits or the people I know in my life that express similar traits or the exact trait I'm trying to express with my characters, right? And I started thinking more about that. I was like, oh yeah, why I don't utilize my mother for parenting, right? Like if I want to express, let's say, a parent and child relationship, why not use the relationship between myself and my mother? Or if I want to use, because I'm actually writing like a king and prince story. If I want to do that, why not do like a relationship with father and son, right? With my dad, right? And use some elements from that to showcase like a parenthood type of relationship, right? Because that's what you know, and that you could go into deeper details into because that's what you lived through, that's your live experience. So why not go deeper into that and use that as the driving force into understanding your characters and going deep into your story in regards to those types of themes and relationships and stuff like that. Now another point I want to make about like leading with your values is when it comes to like your story, right? Sometimes we tend to want to be so realistic or We worry about people's judgment on whether or not of our accuracy when it comes to historical events, or does this make sense? Is this logical? We so focused on that we tend to dismiss, or it fades the real reason why we're even writing this story in the first place. Like, in this story, do you still have that core essence of why you're writing the story? Like, what do you want the world to know about you based on this story? Especially if we agreeing that the story is an expression of yourself, right? Like, what do you want the world to know about you from this story? And I could give you a quick example of my story. After my realization of leading with my values, one of the themes that I usually struggle with throughout my life, because I've been through both ends, is being selfish and being selfless. Like, I truly believe there's like a balancing element towards those two extreme sides. Like, of course you don't want to be extremely selfish, right? But you also don't want to be too selfless as well, because that's when you become like a people pleaser, right? There has to be some type of balance in the middle. And there's been some growing pains, some experiences I had between both ends of the spectrum. And because of that, I have two characters that express both ends of the spectrum. Like, one is completely selfish, one is more in a selfless, one is more on the selfless side of things, right? And because of my experience in life, I could speak on both sides of things. And if I couldn't, then I could use others that I know in my life, family members, friends, things like that. Like, that's honestly why I believe, like, as writers, we need to live more in life. Like, I don't think we'll be able to have like, or expand on our creative boundaries if we just sitting down and writing all day and every day. Like, I think the life experience that we go through, the memories we have, all of it, even the little moments, like just talking to a stranger one day, saying hello, you know, the little bits of time walking to the cafe and seeing the setting and stuff. Little moments too works as well, where it helps you understand like the human element of like that makes us human, and you could express that to your characters, because you want your characters to feel human, and it's a lot easier when you're going through human moments. Right, so lead with your values, lead with who you are, lead with what you know. And sure, like, research is not bad. Of course, you still want to do research on things to have a better understanding, but don't be so caught up in research all the time that you forget about the core essence of the story, and forget about why you're writing the story in the first place and what you want to express about the story. So, yeah, I hope this video helps. I hope you have a bit of an understanding of my point of this video. Is really just to remind myself to get back to the core essence of my story and not be so focused on research all the time, because sometimes the research I'm doing is really just to overcomplicate the story a little bit more, when it's really not that complex, or is not that hard to answer, like, it's actually a lot simpler to answer these questions than I originally put in my brain through, right? Just because we're overthinking it too much. So, yeah, if you relate to that, then you let me know in the comment section down below. You let me know your thoughts on research, balancing research, your intuition, the core essence of your story. Like, let me know your balance in that and how you handles those type of situations. As kind of been my solution is, leading with who I am as a person, but we also having research as like a supplementary piece if it makes the story better, if right. And I think I'm going to leave research as something I do with the second draft. I probably won't do like barely any research for the first draft. Like, maybe like as I'm reading the first draft, I see how research could help improve the story for the second draft or the third draft, anywhere along those lines. I think that's really been the best strategy for me, especially as an overthinker most of the time. So, yeah, if that helps you, let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to work with me and you want to talk about your story, especially if you're in the outlining phase and you need some feedback, let's say suggestions, or I should say, I provide suggestions, questions. Also, what did I just say? I was gonna say I provide suggestions, questions. I also give you my raw reaction to your story and how I feel about your story. We could work together, provide some clarity on how we can move forward with your story so you feel confident and moving forward to your first draft, of course. Especially if you're experiencing writer's block or you feel stuck in any type of way, you could book a consultation call down below and we could discuss about your story. I have a video here or there, anywhere in the screen, that will explain my process as a writer when it comes to reading over your story and how we're going to be working together. So, yeah, you can watch that video. And thank you for watching, by the way. I hope this resonates with you. So, yeah, thank you.